Welcome back to a very special episode of Author Spotlight. This is Dashaun here with the Chief Book Officer himself, Mr. Darren M. Palmer. What's up, Darren?
What's going on, man? It feels good to be in the building, man. I see how it feels to be on the other side of this lens today.
That's right. Yes, sir. You getting interviewed today. We switching it up. And that's
Yeah.
why I'm saying this is a very special episode because we're here to talk about the new release from you, Market Leader Mastery, how to dominate in your industry. I got my signed copy right here. Check it out.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of scratching, man. A lot of scratching, more ways than one.
Yes, sir. That autograph is worth a lot of money right there. I'm gonna have to frame that one. Yes,
Uh,
sir. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend the book launch a couple weeks ago, get that autographed copy like a professional. I had to get it done. And that's why I'm excited. That's why this is a special episode. We're going to talk about market leader mastery. So the first question I have for you, Darren, you already are a 10-time author. This is book number 11. So why now? Why another book and why market leader mastery?
well, I like to practice what I preach, so to speak, Taj. I think that's an excellent question that you just asked. And the reason being, when I said practice what I preach, or let's just put it another way, leading by example, I share what a process that we have with self-publishing 30 days of the importance of the B squared method, which we coined, and that is, book to business. So whenever you're leveling up and you're doing, or you're going into a new area, a new genre, or whatever it may be, it's good to lead with a book. So others are able to get your perspective. They're able to see what your point of view is. And then at the same time, your persona or who you are precedes you before someone even meets you. So I'm going to give an example for those who are looking at this, and is just look at someone like a Grant Cardone, for example. You got a Grant Cardone that came out. If you're not last, if you're not first, you're last, something like that. And then he had Sell or Be Sold. That's because he was really focused on those who were in the car dealerships, or those who own car dealership and sales for car dealerships and sales period. Then he came out with the 10X rule or whatnot. And then you just recently seen him as he continued to make the pivot into more of the multi-level, when they started looking at the multi-units of whatnot for his real estate investing with apartment units, he created a real estate book. Why? Because when he created his fund, he knew that he needed to leverage a book. So as he continued to scale and go into different arenas, he created materials that allow for him to be looked at as an expert in that. Now, why did I bring that to your attention, Todd? It's because as we move forward in some things that we're doing for us consulting for small business owners and solopreneurs who are looking at being truly business owners instead of technicians or high paid employees, they're looking at actually growing a team and creating a culture and growing. Most people don't identify with a company that has 1,000 employees like the Small Business Bureau thinks of a small company. Most people are just looking at, how do I handle doing something outside of myself? How do I handle not just having a VA or a virtual assistant, or if I do have a few virtual assistants and I choose to have someone that does some admin or do some additional work for me as far as design, how do I handle that and how do I build a culture? When is the time to get office space and other things that lead to it? So I've been doing this, but I felt that the time was right now with us being the #1 self-publishing company in the world. The lives is being touched. We're doing more and more consulting. Most people don't even know that. And so I thought this would be a perfect segue for some other things that we're about to release to lead the way with the book for market leader mastery.
I think that's perfect, Darren. I think, like you said, the timing of it is awesome. Having the #1 self-publishing company in the world, you're not just putting it out there because the title's catchy, but you're actually a living example of what it is to be a market leader. And I think it's super impressive the fact that this is your 11th book. I mean, a lot of people are struggling with the first one. And, at the end of the day, you have several businesses, you have a family, and you still have been able to produce and put out this many books. I think that's super impressive. One of the things that impressed me the most about the book, is I just finished reading it a couple of nights ago, is how it's not only about how to become a market leader from a business standpoint, but what it takes as an individual to take yourself to the next level so you can even become a market leader. Can you talk about the connection between being able to develop yourself so that you can develop a team and a business that is a leader in the industry?
Yeah, I want to go to one of the grandfathers of leadership, and that's for my good friend John Maxwell. And he has an example with one of the laws of the law of the lid. And so basically, an organization, whether it's for profit or nonprofit, can only go as high as the particular leader or that particular founder. So they can bottleneck the company if they're not continuing to grow. So that's the same concept that we drew upon when we created that particular content for the book, is the importance of leaders knowing that they have to continue to grow. Whether you are a consultant, you have people that are feeding from you. It's one thing that I've heard before. This a good example of this. You always want to stay a chapter ahead. Whether it's someone at a local elementary or a local independent school district or elementary school or whatnot, a high school, or whether it's a professor at the local community college or whatever it may be. The key to it is to stay ahead. With staying ahead means personal and professional development. There are ways to grow exponentially if you have a culture of growth, but you can't ask for a culture of growth if you're not willing to lead by example. So that's very important for those. That's imperative if you're going to grow an organization, if you're going to have a successful family, nonprofit, whatever you're into. You have to grow yourself, because if not, you'll be a blockbuster. You'll get passed up. It'll be somebody on the cutting edge like a Netflix that'll pass you up. So you got to have that healthy dose of understanding that, hey, you're not by yourself. If somebody's, if you're a taxi industry or whatnot, you got an Uber out there that's waiting on you. So you better get yourself get yourself focused and let your next move be your best move.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I love that you touched on the legacy piece as well in this book, right? Because as I'm reading it, of course, there's personal development tools. Of course, there's a ton of resources to grow your organization and become a leader. But the thing that I like the most is that it was all leading towards the end. It's not just a book about this is how you're going to cash out and make a quick buck. It's about what kind of legacy are you leaving behind. And I just love to hear, because obviously that was a major component of the book. Can you speak about what legacy means to you in business and just in life in general?
Well, legacy, man. I mean, you own it today on these questions, man. We gotta let you keep doing this, man. You can, as we say down south, it's not proper English, but my grandmother used to say it gets gooder and gooder and gooder. So that's not proper English. So we won't have that in the book, but that's you get the point. But with that question shared, I think it's important when you look at the legacy piece, though, Taj, because at the end of the day, what are you doing it for? You got to have a big enough why, because the funds alone is not going to do it. That's why you can see people that can get to a certain spot, which we're not knocking funds. We're not knocking, having monetary success, because that's part of it too as well. That's a byproduct of you doing those other areas or having those habitual, things that you're doing on a daily basis that allow for you to do it. It's going to create a byproduct of that will be money. Now, the other part of that is the legacy. After you get so much money, what's going to get you out the bed? And I know individuals. I even have people who mentor me or do consulting with or whatnot, who, they got those, 9 figures, where they've been bought out by companies and things like that. Venture capitalists came in and bought them out. So if they didn't have a big enough why would they get out the bed in the morning? What would keep them moving forward? So you got to have a big why. And I know it sounds cliche and it sounds all motivational, inspirational when you say that, but if you don't, I know individuals who don't sell their business because that's their purpose. The company is a vehicle for them to fulfill their legacy and helping people and having a purpose to get up every day, to be a better version of themselves, to improve daily, because it's not only your life that's being impacted, it's also those who are under your spirit influence. So whether it's someone who's paying for their kids to go to college, whether it's that single mom who's able to get an opportunity, whether it's someone who just fresh out of college and looking for an opportunity to grow, someone who's doing some intern work, somebody who might have been retired and want something to do, but they were able to find a place and find a home with your organization. And also what those who are around you, with me being a husband, and and also being a father. It's the same thing with my family personally. They, even though they don't like to admit it, they see the things that I do, and I watch a ripple effect in my household. I change my workout, and I see that other people are changing their workout at my house. Now, I'm not barking orders for anybody to do the workouts, but I just noticed that the harder I go, the more determined, the more focused I am, the more success that I have. It's leading by example and creates opportunities for my family to grow without even them acknowledging or saying that it came from me, which I know it did. They weren't doing it, but it's not me. But I had to have a paradigm shift, because the old me, I used to be that. You're like, hey, you need to do this. But I realized, no, if you just lead by example, then you'll start finding that, just like the coronavirus, not making a joke of it, but it's infectious. So I'm just saying, why don't we allow for legacy building to be infectious? Why don't we allow for
Mm.
positivity to be infectious? Why don't we allow paying attention to detail to be infectious? Why don't we allow having a smile on our face, being change agents, having a hero effect? Why don't we utilize that to make sure that we positively change people's lives, whether we know them, whether they are blood relatives, whether they work for our organizations or not? We can make a difference in this world, one person at a time.
Wow. And I think that definitely shines through in the book there. It's very evident that that was the underlying message with what you were trying to get across. And I think as I was reading, that was coming across very well. Not just in your household, but in your organization, in your team. Me being able to benefit from that firsthand with you leading from the front and you being focused on your legacy enables me to also be able to pick up on that as well. I think what you said with leading with, not with the iron fist, but leading with love and being able to have that trickle down. I think we're living in a time where that shift is needed. I think a lot of people look up to folks like Steve Jobs, where you got to come in a turtleneck and start yelling at people. I think he was known for that. Versus you are setting the example through your work and through leading the organization that you can lead from a place of you know encouragement and love, and being able to lead from that place of leaving a legacy behind. And like I said, I think that definitely shines through.
But,
And
but I just want to add something real quick, Todd, when you said that, because you hit on some good points of what we talked about. Now, at the time of at the time of the recording of this, I think it'll be released in a few days or whatnot, and it's still going on. We're recording during the election,
mm,
2020, and the pandemic. So those who will watch this years later or whatnot, you'll catch this. Now, no matter how this election turns out, it's pretty tight right now. But I heard this from a podcast from Ed Milet, and he interviewed Donald Trump Jr. And it was a great interest. And I love Ed Milet because he doesn't get caught up. He doesn't have a favorite. He's unbiased. And so it was just a great interview. And he also did something with the Yang guy as well, or whatnot, on the Democratic Party. But he had Donald Trump Jr. on there. And he was talking about his dad or whatnot. And so you know how it is. We all got family members. I mean, some people, when they get to a certain age, it's nothing you really can tell them. Like, you love it or hate it, that's who they are. And we all have family members like that. We got parents, grandparents, like the uncles, aunties. Like, it's no filter. It is. They're not trying to impress people. They are so far
right.
past that. Like, they got their thoughts set in their ways, whatever you want to call it. So why I'm bringing this up is because I shared this last night to my wife, because the election's been tight, and I shared with her. We had a private discussion, and I said, I really don't believe that this race would even be close. I said, because I'm gonna just use Donald Trump for example. Donald Trump has did some great things for us in business. Now I want the business owner to listen to this, because this is not about Donald Trump. This is about you. This is about me. But because he was great in one area, he thought it was enough in other areas that he was lacking. So he wasn't leading with a sense of empathy in certain arenas and areas that most people would have bypassed some of the things that he's done, but he never would, because he came from that old school mentality of you never apologize, you never show empathy. And it's the same thing that we see even in the college arena or in the professional sports, where you got those coaches who trying to, coach like Mike Dick and them back in the days. That's not really working in the current environment that we're in. You can't teach like teachers used to teach back in the 60s or the 80s anymore. That was acceptable. Some of us still can get along with it, but you're dealing with a day and age where if you say something bad to somebody on a school bus, you bullying. And I'm not saying there's not certain things that go home on social media and people push edge. I'm not talking about those extreme cases, but I think we all identify. I know when I grew up, everybody would have been locked up because everybody was getting bullied. I mean, it's just like if you was at the bus stop, you was talked bad about it. You got on the bus, you was talked bad about it. You was on the football bus, you got talked bad to. You was in the locker room, you got talked. The coaches cussed you out. They told you couldn't have water. You know what I'm saying? You was a wuss if you had water. So everybody would have been locked up when I grew up because, because that's just what's the culture. But I'm not saying that that's right for the time, but I think I'm bringing this around. Are you adjusting with the times? Some of the benefits of leadership is knowing how to lead effectively a different way. That's why you can have a Pete Carroll who can still be effective on the collegiate level and a professional level, and also win championships and be a winner because he knows what makes his players and staff tick. So it's one thing to make power moves. It's another thing to make force moves. When you got people who willingly want to do stuff and they feel like they made the decision, you're always going to be more productive at an organization, and the positivity levels for those who are working around you are going to be higher compared to someone who's just forced to do something, or someone who feel like they're not cared for. And so I think if we all can learn something, those who are business owners that just do your damn job because I'm paying you, that mentality isn't gonna go far. And yeah, they might do the job for a little bit because you are paying them and they do need to pay their bills or whatnot, but you'll start having some great people find a way to leave out of there because they don't have that they don't have that empathy from you. They feel like that they're not just a number. And so if you don't understand that, taking a lesson from our presidential election, even though you can kill it, even though you can pay people premium wages, I've seen people leave opportunities where they were getting compensated more to go to places where they feel like they was cared for. So I think that's something that we all can glean and learn from, whether you're doing Pop Warner or if you're running a Fortune 1000 company or whatnot, a 500 company. I feel like we all can learn something from that.
Absolutely. That's some great examples you brought up too, especially when you talk about like Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, because realistically, Darren, you've been a market leader for quite some time now. You could have put this book out last year. You could have waited until next year, but you chose to put it out now. And do you think that that's because of the current landscape, not just political, but society as a whole? Is that one of the main driving factors for why you were like, now is the time to write this book and now is the time to release it?
Yeah, I feel so, because I think that it's the data that we've been able to take in from the people we've been able to serve already. And so I just believe that even if you're not able to work with me one-on-one, or you're not able to participate in some of the programs that we have, I think that this is just a great starting point. And I think it's a legacy piece, because I really feel like whether you do consulting with us or not, if you get that book, it's the perfect gift to, as notice what I said, gift to yourself to get you on the right step. Because I think that some information is put out there what people need to do, and they're starting off the wrong way. And so they're not having the right foundation. I love to use the example. You can watch HGTV and watch Property Brothers, and you can see the hardwood floors that are stained, the mahogany wood. You can see the chandeliers in the foyer, the whole nine. But if If the foundation is cracked, it's all for naught. And I believe there is so many solopreneurs and those who are entrepreneurial out there who mean well, but they don't have a solid foundation. Or if they have the budget, they have the books, but they're worried about the wrong thing. Instead of them actually going out there and getting set up as a market leader, they're spending more time at IKEA, online on Amazon. They're buying office furniture, new computers, business cards. They doing, and nothing against anybody, but they're doing all these leadership training courses, and they're treating it like it's a college course. And entrepreneurial, being an entrepreneur isn't like a college course. And so there are things that you need to set up. So now you are attracting business instead of chasing business. That's the difference between a market leader and a generalist. A generalist is a jack of all trade, master of none, which sound good in some of the areas that we grew up in because you could do multiple things. But when you are a market leader, you want to be that person that's known for that one thing. Well, I'm talented in this and I can do this. Not saying that you can't do that, but they need to know you for that one thing. And then you can find ways to pivot. But if you're a jack of all trades and master of none, you're not going to be successful in business. You're going to scrape. But if I'm known for something, and when someone's looking for that, that small percentage of people who are looking for that, if I have that niche or that niche, then I'm always going to have business because I'm attracting the right people because they know who to call when they're looking for that one thing.
Wow. I hope y'all didn't miss that. Anybody listening to this, I hope you didn't miss that. Market leaders attract customers. Write that down. Market leaders attract customers instead of chasing them. And that's the difference right there. And somebody could pick up this book and read through it and get so many gems just from this book alone, just from reading Market Leader Mastery. Someone can make a complete pivot in their whole operation, even if they're a solopreneur on their way to owning to having an actual team. But someone could read the book and make a complete pivot. But I want to touch on something you said earlier too, Darren, and that's this book is almost laying the foundation for some of the things that we're going to be doing as a company, expanding and branching out. Yeah. And you've been doing a lot of this already. It just hasn't necessarily been out in front. But can you talk a little bit about what it means, what the new era of self-publishing 30 days and what's coming along to follow up all the information that's in this book to help business owners?
Well, we got a whole division, actually not just a division, we got another company that deals strictly with the consulting for those who are looking at being a solopreneur. And because some might be just leaving the corporate arena, they might just be leaving a cubicle and they have to start somewhere. So they got to start at ground level. So they might be just a solopreneur right now, but it's having the right mindset and not being indecisive on where they should go and what they should do. So now they can actually track and see how their journey will look by it being mapped out, because they're trying to compare themselves to companies that, like I said, got 1,000 employees, and it's like, that doesn't, pertain to me. And they're talking about exit strategies and what's the EBITDA and all that right there. And they're like, I'm just trying to figure out, should I get an LLC or should I just have a DBA? I don't know what is all that stuff about. EBITDA, buyout, I'm not understanding. Cash flow, I'm not getting that. So what we're doing as a company, we have a company called, which I've been having this, but it's a company called Market Leader Consulting. And we got a program called Market Leader Academy, where you'll be able to not just only hear from me and the team, but you're also able to hear from some of titans in industry. And all these individuals, even though the industries might change, the game remain the same. Let me repeat that again. Even though the industry might change, the game remains the same. And what I mean by that is, well, there's someone who's just making millions moving dirt. Yeah, I said it, moving dirt. They didn't create an app. They're not in Silicon Valley. You never heard them. They don't have 1 million followers on Instagram or on YouTube. They don't use Google Ads. They're not a click or a funnel away from doing anything, and they're still making millions. To those who so digital marketing companies, those who have reinvented themselves, those who own financing for trucking companies. So we have those from different areas, a myriad of backgrounds, different nationalities, sexual orientation, on different levels on the socioeconomic ladder as well, that are benefiting by being market leaders. So there will be, basically a platform where courses, um, connected with individual, but more than anything, the different thing that's unique with this is this approach that we use for consulting is tailor made for the individual we work with. It's not cookie cutter. And I assure people, like, if you're looking for modules and day one, if you want a class, just go online, just go to Udemy, go to YouTube, join a John Maxwell program and get a certification. This is for real serious entrepreneurs who need to know, how do I kill something to eat today? How do I leave this 9 to 5 and actually pay my bills? How can I keep my marriage? What are me and my significant other going to do? Because you know what, I got to have some bills paid. I got to make, or I got some funds that I took out my 401k or my Roth IRA that I need to use. How do I maximize? Where do I invest? Instead of investing with someone you've seen on TV, the money is gone, and then you're trying to figure out what you need to do. So that's the type of the program that this is for those who are listening to this. And this is what we have for people. And like I said, it works. So I've been able to do it. Others who you'll see a part of this program who are a part of this, so whether you are an athlete looking at being an entrepreneur, whether you're someone who's a stay-at-home mom and you're ready to do something different, the kids off to school, whatever it may be, or you just want to create another stream of income, whether you are looking at, okay, I'm retired and I still want to find that new thing. I have so many clients that are looking at things like that. So if you don't want the cookie cutter approach, I always share that if you just want to read Think and Grow Rich and just meet up with people and just have someone create a bunch of modules for you, like that, we're not the company for you. But if you want real life tangible steps that's going to help you go to the next level and be able to navigate the environment that we're in, then we're here for you. Because this is something, now this can be taken the wrong way, but I want y'all to understand it and take it with a grain of salt. Entrepreneurship is not the Special Olympics. Everybody is not going to get a ribbon and a hug. So it is what it is, because it's people that you might not like and they still can be successful at entrepreneurship. That's the great thing about entrepreneurship. There are people that don't even have a GED and they're making millions, or they're living their life by design. And there's people who got 2 or 3 doctorates and not doing anything, hate the job and hate the work that they do. I'm not saying that you can't do both, but that's the great thing about entrepreneurship, is the equalizer. So no matter who you are, no matter what country you come from, you can utilize entrepreneurship to accelerate your life.
Wow, that's huge there. And I love that you touched on that it's not a cookie cutter approach either. With Market Leader Consulting, with the people who will be enrolled in Market Leader Academy, that specialized attention is what makes the difference. Like you said, a lot of people start out and they may buy something or buy a course or something and it gives them the fundamentals, but they don't have that specialized, like, these are the slight little tweaks, because that's sometimes all it takes. I learned this from you. Sometimes it takes just the slightest little tweak. You don't have to completely flip the table upside down and start doing something new. You start with one little tweak and it changes the whole game. So I think what you're saying is really important for people to understand, that you need that specialized attention, because even the principles in the book, in Market Leader Mastery, the principles, if you follow the principles, you'll be able to make changes immediately. But what you get from working with someone or attending, an academy, is what you get. That's where you get that specialized part of it from. So that means everything, Darren. I think that's amazing. And I think that what we're looking at moving into the future is even more so with you being in this space as a market leader and showing other people how to do it. Like, let's just talk about, back to that word, that L word, legacy. what is Darren Palmer's legacy when it's all said and done? You know, when you leave this earth, I know you got many more years ahead. I don't want to,
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. You got to get it how you live. So yeah, we got
Yes,
plenty of
sir.
time left. But the legacy piece to me, I would say the legacy piece to me, and I already live like this, is impact as many lives as possible. And what I mean by that is through, I think what I'm here for is to share with people that it's okay to merge the mission and the marketplace. That if you're a person of faith, you don't have to be broke. And that is a dirty word.
Mm,
Or if you're in business, you got to be a dirt bag because you're in business. Or if you're a salesperson, that means that you're swindling people. I want us to change the wording to that. That I'm not. If I'm a salesperson, I'm actually servicing someone. I'm getting them something that they actually want. And there's plenty of people that actually want something, and that they're thankful that you got them what they actually wanted, and they're willing to compensate you for it. That happens. I mean, just look at some of these parents when it's Christmas time, it's a gift that they want to get to their child or their grandchild. They happily are, giving over funds and giving their card information or purchasing because they want that. And so for me, I believe that the mission in the marketplace is an area that I think there's going to be a big wealth transfer. And I just want to be able to help assist people know that life can be different, that they don't have to live to the beat of somebody else's drum set, that they can actually step out and they can do it. But at the same time, they need to have a work ethic. They need to have faith. They need to continue to know how to continue to grow. They must be willing to invest in themselves. Because I'm telling you flat out, every single person that I know invest in themselves. I mean, far as what I'm saying, the successful people, they're investing in themselves. Everyone that I see that's not investing in themselves, and that doesn't mean that you won't have. There's some creeps out there, people. No, don't get us wrong. It's creeps in every walk of life. I mean, we've all had someone that didn't do what they said they was going to do. We got family members like that. They still family members. Okay, so that don't mean you just give up on life and throw in the towel and say I'm not going to try anything again because somebody did something. No, you keep moving. And I feel like on the legacy piece with me, it the more people I'm able to help, the more fulfilled that I am. And I really, really believe that. And I believe in having that real intensity of just telling them the truth in love. And, because if I do that, it helps marriages, it helps people take care of their grandchildren. It allows for the quality of life while people are in their prime to be even better, allow for them to have more years on this earth. Because if I look at my own life when it comes to the legacy, like I'm able to, have a conversation like this with Dashaun to be interviewed on the 11th book. And I remember a time where I came working at a distribution plant, in Texas, but personal development and my faith and the same things I'm telling you, work ethic, investing in myself when I didn't even have it, taking out my whole Roth IRA, investing it all in the business and still not having it, seeing vehicles get towed, going through foreclosure, all those type of things, marriage on the rocks, having our youngest child while we was doing the business and staying faithful. Those are some of the things that you got to be able to be willing to go through. I'm not saying that's going to be the same for everyone, but when you get the right coaching, you get the right consulting, you don't have to go through all those things that I did. I went through it for you. So hopefully I can help assist you not to go through. But at the same time, I'm still not going to be able to, I'm not going to cripple you by telling you not to invest in yourself. I'm not going to cripple you by telling you that you're going to do the same kind of work schedule that everybody else does. You're going to have to push your mindset. You're going to have to push your spirituality. You're going to have to push your relationships. You're going to have to push things to another level if you want to live at another level.
I think, and I appreciate you being so transparent with that, Darren, because I think that's important for people to hear, that you didn't just wake up, an 11-time author. You didn't just wake up a market leader. You shared all the sacrifices that it took to get you there. And I think people do need to hear that, so they don't get caught up in the mindset of all I have to do is, get some consulting or get some coaching. It'll fix all my problems. But you have to put in the work as well, and I really do think, it's easy for me to say because I'm part of the organization, but I really do think you do a great job of leading by example and embodying the legacy that you said you wanted to leave, and in a time where blending the mission with the marketplace is something that people are looking to do, but just don't know how to do. Like I said, I think the timing of everything that you're doing is crucial,
Well,
so
man, that means a lot, man. That means a lot coming from you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any last words you want to share about the book before we wrap it up? Of course, I want to tell people where they can go get their copy and all that good stuff. And anything you want to leave with the people there?
I would just say, where I'm at right now, I wish I could see it, but you can't see it, but it's something that's looking dead at me right now that says, chase that dream. What is that dream for you? It could be someone to see some kids deprived and said, if I can just help one of these kids. She took a step. Now we know that woman as Mother Teresa. She never did seek to be Mother Teresa. She never did see herself helping thousands and millions of people by the work that she was doing. She was just wanting to help one kid. So she took a step. You got individuals out there like a young man, the young Reverend, who wanted to make a change by Martin Luther King. He took one step. He didn't know at the time that there would be highways and streets named after him. The own denomination that he came out of, where he was preaching, that a lot of them disowned him and denounced him because he was looked at as a rebel, and they didn't want no part of the type of work that he was doing. And so when you look at whether it's a Mother Teresa or it's a Martin Luther King, the thing that they have in common is that they took a step. Now, they have created a legacy, not only for themselves and their families, but for each and every one of us to be able to have a standard to live by, for us to understand what could happen if we live on a higher level or a higher vibration to be who we truly are. So for those who are listening to this, if you just see yourself as a woman who can't do anything, and if it wasn't a male chauvinistic world, I could do more. If you look at your ethnicity or you look at what's in your account, then you won't take the first step. If you just see yourself as someone who am I if it was a Martin Luther King? I'm just a young reverend from the South. What difference can I make? I'm not going to be able to change the South. I'm not going to be able to change the world. As the great Henry Ford once said, those who believe that they can and those who believe that they can't are both right. So I'm asking you, which one are you going to be? Are you going to be one that think you can or one that think you can't? Either way it go, your legacy is in your hands.
We're going to go ahead and let that marinate for a second. D, you might have to drop the mic on that one. My goodness. Oh, my goodness. Man, you speaking into people's hearts right now. Somebody's heart, but my heart is touched. I forgot I was interviewing you for a second.
Oh, man.
I'm over here. I forgot I was interviewing you for a second. I was like, man, this was a good episode. Oh, wait a minute. I posted this one. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Oh, that's real, man. That's real. So definitely, man. I do want to share this too, before we close it out, is that just another example of this is just, if you see the things that's going on here with Taj. I mean, Taj is a business owner. He, still got businesses. He's being a serial entrepreneur, but the power of partnership, like you see here with us, Taj is the vice president. I don't have ego. He doesn't have ego. My legacy is to help more people. So it takes team. So people see me, they see me as the 11-time author, but I like to share with people, I'm just a mascot. I have an amazing team, amazing group of people that I have amazing family, people that support me to help this dream come true. So wherever you have vision, you'll have provision. So don't ever forget that. If you just move towards the vision, the provision are going to show up for you. So I just want to encourage those who are listening to this, because what you'll do is you will attract people that align with your legacy, align with your destiny. But the more you keep living a life that's not you, not the real you, not the higher version of you, you're going to keep getting the lower fruit, the lower hanging fruit of the people that you're connected to. So just keep that in mind. You have to go to a higher vibration because you're going to attract the provision that you need. But if you never make a request or demand on that vision, you'll never receive the provision.
Mm, mm. More powerful words, man. That's deep, Darren. that's deep. Like you said, I'm happy that we were attracted into each other's vortex.
Yeah.
Like it. I'm proud to be a part of the team. You may call yourself a mascot, but to me, you're the leader. You're the leader. You know what I'm saying? You're leading from the front. So,
Man.
well, everyone, please go get your copy of Market Leader Mastery today at Self-Publish in 30 Days in the shop. Make sure you follow us on social media at Self-Publish in 30 Days. Follow me at Dashaun. When you go over there, whether it's Self-Publish in 30 Days or you're following Darren Palmer, just look up either one. I know you're doing some giveaways and stuff like that too. So you want to make sure you follow on social media, because Darren has a few opportunities to win a free copy. Right, Darren? You got some stuff going on?
We got some opportunities. Just make sure you go to Self-Publish, the letter N, 30 Days on IG, Facebook. Also, you can find our YouTube page as well. For those who comment on the YouTube or whatnot, or subscribe to the YouTube and make a comment on this particular post, or leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, then we'll make sure that we put you in the giveaway as well to be able to receive a copy of the book. And we got some bonuses in there too as well that we'll be including. But you don't know unless you play. You can't win unless you play. So definitely go over there to selfpublishletterin30days.com to find any other information that you need. But once again, Taj, man, I appreciate you for having me on the show, man. It means a lot to get the great Taj Dashaun, Southern California on your own, so hey, it's not every day you're able to talk to the Dago King, man, so I appreciate it.
That's right, D. It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on here and dropping these gems. Once again, folks, this has been a very special episode, a historical episode of Author Spotlight with Darren M. Palmer. We'll catch you on the very next episode.